Hi, welcome to Science from Above. This is Lucy B. So today I have a lot to say today. Surprise, surprise. I do want to talk about The Sound of Freedom, and I know that there's been a lot out there regarding this movie, but I want to dig even deeper into what this looks like and how the media is portraying this movie as being conspiracy theory, fictional, and then go into what they think is right. So movies that are good, and let's just get into it. So as again, most of you have heard about The Sound of Freedom. And so The Sound of Freedom is based on a true story of a former government agent who rescues hundreds of children from sex traffickers. So did you know that the U.S. is actually number one in the world as a consumer for sex trafficking? There are about 252,000 websites containing images or videos of children being sexually abused. But yet many media platforms deny this is true and have stated it is a conspiracy theory. So let's go back to some of these media, including New York Times, the Rolling Stones, the Guardian, the Telegraph, and just many more. So they are the ones that are saying this. They're saying this is false, that this is a conspiracy theory, so many things that is crazy. But anyway, my opinion's stuck in there a little bit. So do you remember the movie? It's Netflix's movie Cuties. So this movie is based upon an 11-year-old coming to terms with her sexuality, basically. The movie, it was a huge controversy, and there was a, hashtag cancel Netflix all over, and Netflix actually lost money from this, and it's kind of been lost and forgotten about. But what it is like Netflix was actually sued over this film with an attorney general, Barr, that stated there's no excuse for this sexualization of children, calling the movie disgusting at best and a serious crime at worst. So I've never watched the movie personally. I have no desire to watch this movie. I do not want to be someone that feels like they're supporting it. But according to reports that I've read, they said that one part of the film actually showed the pubic area. And that's part of where they were calling this basically child pornography. So again, 11 years old, right? Not okay. So the media platforms, when talking again about The Sound of Freedom, remember, it's fiction, it's lies, conspiracy theory, among other things. So you look up Cuties. And I wanted to know, well, if this is what they said about Sound of Freedom, what are they saying about that movie, Cuties? So first, let's get to the Rotten Tomatoes. They gave it an 87%. While the audience score was 15%. Again, like that's huge, a huge discrepancy, 87% to 15%. So then, dig a little deeper. Okay, so what did Rolling Stone's headline say about this? Cuties review, a coming-of-age movie caught in the culture wars. NBC is criticism of Netflix's Cutie isn't about the movie, it's a cynical ploy in the culture war. The Guardian, Cuties review. Netflix's controversial child film is bold, flawed, and misunderstood. Stanford Daily, Cutie is a great film and overshadowed by controversy. Los Angeles Times, Cuties review. Despite Netflix's bungling, it's worth seeing. New York Times. What the Cutie critics can't see is the complexities of a black girlhood. And finally, the most disgusting of them all, The Telegraph, which is the number one media outlet, whatever it is, newspaper, whatever you want to call it, in the UK, stated, Cuties Netflix review. A provocative powder keg for the age terrified of child sexuality. So take that one in. So this is what they're saying about this so-called pornographic child movie versus somebody that's truly trying to call this out. I don't know. Just throwing that out there, something isn't right. Regardless, whatever, something is not right between the two. So why is the media trying to convince the population that Cuties is such a great movie when the audience review is literally 15%? Brainwash? Not again? You decide. You decide. So I want to dig even deeper than this. So I don't know if you've heard about this person, but she's a whistleblower, Tara Lee Rhodes. Look her up. Most mainstream media will not cover this, and they had not covered this, but there's actually video of this out there. So Tara Lee Rhodes told Congress House Committee in April that the United States federal government has become the middleman in a multi-dollar human trafficking operation targeted at minors at the southern border. So who is Tara Lee Rhodes? Well, she volunteered to help with a plan by the Biden administration to get control of the humanitarian disaster on the U.S.-Mexico border in 2021. So she's been doing this for a couple years. And you kind of read, she's like had PTSD by this. This has been extremely, extremely, extremely difficult for her, which I get because so she is an HHS representative social worker. Again, if you've seen my other videos, I came from that world of social work, and your heart is with these kids, and I've seen a lot of bad things. So I 100%, based on my experience, 100% believe that this is true. Tara Lee Rhodes went on to state at the Congress, she said, I thought I was going to place children in loving homes. Instead, I discovered that children are being trafficked through a sophisticated network that begins with being recruited in home country, smuggled to the U.S. border, and ends when the ORR delivers a child to a sponsor. Some sponsors are criminals and traffickers and members of the transnational criminal organization. Some sponsors view children as commodities and assets to be used for earning income. Rhoda saw children who spoke only a dialect of the Mayan reunited with sponsors who spoke only Spanish. She saw a single apartment building that had taken in up to 50 children without adults being present with these children that she was handing them over. She saw single sponsors collecting multiple children from different sites using several different addresses. Rhoda's testimony has received a muted coverage, but is not the only one to come forward. There have been others. It's not just her word. There are others that are coming forward with this too. So in late May, though, here we go. So this was April when she did this. So then in late May, the Department of Justice erased the content from their web page concerning any sex trafficking of children, and they stated that it is no longer a concern. Again, I'm just giving you facts. You decide what you think. But I do. I don't know. I've seen, again, I've been in social work. I've seen things that would make people completely cringe. And it's not right. It's completely not right what these kids go through. I do have a personal story that I want to share with this. So not my story, but this is my husband's cousin. And her name is Sunny. So on April 20th, 2019, Sunny was last seen in Trenton, Nebraska, and that's where she lived. she left with a man by the name of Floyd Clifford Coates in his vehicle. It was a 2004 Ford Explorer with Iowa plates. So Coates knew Sonny's mother, but not well at all. More of an acquaintance, first time meeting type person. Sonny went with him. I don't think her mom so much trusted, but thought, okay, well, maybe it'll be okay. So they drove to Omaha, which is about 300 miles away, where they planned to pick up Coates' niece, Floyd Coates. And that's the man that she left with. And around 12:45 of that day, Sonny did call her mom to let her know she'd be back that evening, but she never returned. So Floyd did state that he went to a casino in Iowa from about 9 o'clock to midnight, and he stated when he returned, she was gone. I don't know if you've ever been to a casino, but there are cameras everywhere in a casino. So, obviously, FBI knew this. They went in there and there was no sign of him being there. So he changed his story and said that they stopped at a gas station. And when he went inside to pay, she was gone. So Mr. Floyd has a long criminal record, which include convictions in cell, possession of drugs, possessions of deadly weapons, battery, theft, among other offenses. And in fact, I don't know. What do I say? This man, he remains free. He has spent some time in and out of jail here and there for these offenses that he continues to make. This man is free. They considered this a cold case. They have concluded that foul play has happened, but have not named a person of interest or suspect in her case. This has been just over 4 years since she's gone missing. And again, no sign of her. None whatsoever. And this man that had completely lied a couple of times is literally out there right now. Now, is Sonny in some sex trafficking ring? I don't know. It's a good age for her to have been in it. She was a teenager. But again, I don't know. I suspect it very well could have happened. But again, I don't know. But the fact is there's no body that's been found. There's no sign of her. She's just gone. She just disappeared. And no sign of her. Nothing. They have nothing. Literally nothing. And she had just gotten a cat right before she left. And this little cat was just her world. And she just had no reason to not return back home. It's not a runaway situation by any means. Even the fact that she's letting her family know where she's at and when she'll be back. And yeah, just disappeared. And all of her belongings, everything is there. All she took with her was she took an extra pair of pants and a sweatshirt. And then just had on a shirt. I believe it was a shirt and a t-shirt. And she just brought the other two just in case it got cold. Because it was in April. Again, we don't know what happened. My situation is, again, this is nothing that I can prove by any means, but I had my daughter when I took her on a plane ride to go see my family, and it was just me and her. And I sat her down for a minute and just laying on the chair there while I picked up her diaper bag and backpack and all that. And as I did that, a woman came by and just picked her up and started walking off with her. And I ran to the woman and grabbed her back out of her arms, and she spoke this different language. Whether she could speak English, I don't know. She just acted like I was like frantic, like, what are you doing? I mean, like, making me feel kind of crazy. And obviously I didn't. But yeah, this woman just completely took off with my daughter. It was so bizarre. And, you know, an airport, which seems mind-boggling to me. Again, there's cameras everywhere. Would have been easy proof. Another one is, I have a friend from Australia. Without knowing my story, she just happened to share her story. And what happened was, she adopted this little girl, and when her little girl was about 2, they were in California, and some person came and they turned their back for literally, like, I swear it feels like that all the time when kids just disappear. It's like 2 seconds. So all of a sudden they look around and they can't see her, and this man has their hand going up the escalator. Again, a freak out moment, and somebody that pretends that they don't, or truly doesn't, I don't know, to know English. So it was so bizarre hearing that same circumstance, although my daughter was 3 months and her daughter was 2 years old at the time, without knowing each other's story and bringing that up. A little crazy. My personal feelings is, I know something's going on. It's what is behind this? What is with this whole sexualization of children? What is with it? Why are they bringing in these books of sexualization for these elementary students with full-on graphics of sexual positions? It's almost kind of being forced. Watching these pride parades and men walking down the street naked. Another one that I saw was this man in this kind of, I don't know, like tied up, and this other man whipping him as he's in his little straps. Just seeing these babies and little toddlers and these having like strip dances that are out there. And for some reason it is like, we're crazy for thinking that this child sexualization, why are we not allowing this? Because they're children. And I heard this lady, I don't know, she was about 80, and she really kind of struck me. But she's like, this world is so backwards. She goes, I lay in bed and I'm thinking, am I dead or am I alive? Because when I get out in this world, nothing makes sense to me anymore. Nothing makes sense to me in this world. Everything is backwards. What used to be good is now bad, and what was bad is now good. And she had never seen anything like our world now, and she sits there and thinks, when in Lord Jesus are you coming back? Because this world doesn't make sense. And I didn't have those words for that, but hearing her say that was so truthful. This world does not make sense anymore. In the last 3 years, this world has turned upside down like I have never seen. You know, and as Christians, I'm here to love you, but I can't agree with what is wrong, right? So that's kind of how I'm feeling. And there's the verse in Isaiah where they did say, speaking of that, is, you know, they'll believe what is good is bad and what is bad is good. But another couple verses that I have here are, you know, Luke 17:12, and it says, it would be better for them to be thrown into the sea with a millstone tied around their neck than to cause one of these little ones to stumble. So true. So true. I mean, you go back to Exodus 21:16, and that it was a little harsher. It was, I don't know, I guess that one was pretty harsh too. You just don't mess with the kids and hurt them. But in Exodus, it's like anyone who kidnaps another or sells him or still has them when he's caught. Must be put to death. Period. You don't mess with these littles. You do not mess with these littles. They are innocent, and they're put into this world, this adult that just, again, has things backwards. So I'm sorry for this completely non-positive podcast episode that I have, but these things need to be said, and we can't keep hiding our heads in the sand, pretending that it's not happening and just focusing on the positive. You're going to have positive in Jesus. You have that belief in Jesus. That's where your hope is. That's where your joy is. But this world, this evil world, belongs to Satan here. And he's controlling it right now. I truly believe, in my mind, we're heading into the end days because it's so evil. But my joy is in Jesus. So it doesn't take me down, because what's happening here, he's in control, and I have to believe that. But at the same time, I can't sit and be quiet with what's happening into this world right now. So again, take it as you want. If anything, I ask you to just pray about it. Pray. Don't take my word for it. Pray about it. To me, again, I was getting ready to get off, but I have one more thing. I had someone ask me, what have you learned about COVID? And I thought, what'd you learn through that? What'd you learn through it? My response was that nobody knows anything about anything. I mean, you had the COVID shots split. Everything was split and still is just completely split. But the one thing that I do know is I had the truth, the Bible. That's my truth. That's where my faith, that's where everything is. That's the only thing that I know that is truth. Man, I don't trust in man. And neither should you. Trust in the Bible. Believe what it says. And the truth you'll be shown the truth. I was ready to say the truth will set you free, which is true too. But the truth of the Bible, it will reveal things that you will see, and open your eyes, and will open your ears to things that you're blinded to. So I read it twice a day. Make it a priority. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. And again, hopefully more news that's better next week. Maybe not. Never know. It'll be a surprise. So thank you for listening to Signs from Above, and we'll see you next week. Bye.